Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time zone you're watching this video. It's your boy Robbie. We back for another react. This one is going to be coming from Poetic Flacco, the satisfying downfall of Rick Ross. It's crazy how just a decade ago, I would say throughout the 2010s, Rick Ross could not miss. I mean, magnificent, Maybach music, 9-piece, like he had banger after banger. And now everybody looks at him as public enemy number one. It's kind of crazy, man. I want to say I think he put out an album. I'm not too sure, but we're gonna get into this video. We're gonna see what's going on. Let's get to it, y'all.
Today was a really bad day for Rick Ross. He's currently the laughingstock of the internet, and honestly, you can't feel bad for Rick Ross because he brought it upon himself. Rick Ross dropped an album last week called Set in Stone. Now,
Okay,
Rick
so
Ross
he
spent the
did
last
drop an
3
album.
months
Okay.
on a press tour on every podcast promoting this album. When Rick Ross went on his press tour promoting his album, you could tell Rick Ross wanted this badly. Like, Rick Ross wanted this album to be successful badly. Yo, Rick Ross was answering almost every controversial question. He was going out of his way to cause controversy in every interview he went in, right? Primarily on the back of Drake. But he was answering every controversial questions that most A-list rapper would kind of skip. He was going out of his way to diss Drake during these interviews because he wanted to drum up some type of controversy, a media storm. He wanted for him to be in, I guess, the media cycle when his album dropped so it could do well, so it could sell well. He was even calling his album a classic. Now, when the album dropped, and again, I'm not being hyperbolic here, the album was an absolute abject failure and a flop. It was a flop in every sense of the word. Every metric you want to use, this new Rick Ross album was a flop. Even if you're one of those hip-hop purist dudes who don't care about numbers per se, this was still an abject failure to you because the music itself was trash and it was poor. And every side of hip-hop, every fan base, every fan base came together to say, this is trash. I think, me personally, the problem with this album was it lacked direction. He just kind of threw a collection of songs together, threw a bunch of like big names, like features, and it just didn't work, nor.
You know what I honestly think? I think the thing with Rick Ross is that his sound hasn't aged well with the listeners, if you will. It's a whole different demographic of ears out here. Like when you think about that 2010 sound, like that ride out sound, you know, you in your car, sunroof open, that sort of sound, that's kind of where Rick Ross, in my opinion, really dominated. You know, he made good car music. You feel me? I'm sure some of y'all will agree with me. You don't really go to him too much for lyrics or anything like that, which that's cool. Not everybody's going to be a lyricist, but I think that when it comes to like that sound, we're past that now. And so I think that might be one of the issues, but y'all let me know what y'all think.
Didn't make sense. It wasn't cohesive at all. And the music was just bad and poorly done. So one fan says, every side of hip hop Twitter coming together to agree Rick Ross album is trash. The way his head moves in the animation is frying me. Off the leash flow, LOL. This sounds like someone doing a bad impression of those vocal inflections Kendrick uses. Everybody want to be Future, but not everybody can actually pull it off. Ninjas over 40 riding around to this thinking it's the hardest ish out. This is Juicy J's old flow. 3-6 Mafia influence is crazy in today's rap. Wrap this up by 6:30. He saw Future competing for the Worst Song of the Year award and won it in. Yo, again, the majority of his comments is bad. Like, it's terrible. Why would anyone listen? Or you see, now, this critique to me isn't even really like a critique. This is just hate. All right. Because if you want to say, yo, listen, Rick Ross, I listen and the album is trash. But if you're saying just Rick Ross dropping an album in 2026 is a problem for you, that's hate and can't be taken seriously. All right. Someone
that might
says,
be a little extreme.
Shaking his head, even he know is trash. Okay, one person like it. But the rest of the comments is bad, right? It's trash. Somebody says, oh, so he really dropped this trash album with this trash cover, that trash visualizer, and that trash promo just to hit us with a trash flow like that? Everybody is pretty much on the same page. This album is trash, it's piss poor, it's horrible. Now, here's the problem, okay? If you drop an album this trash and this horrible and this terrible, and like the literal internet is telling you, yo, this is trash, your only saving grace is if you could fall back on the numbers and say, yo, Y'all saying it's trash, but I sold 250. Biggest boss. But he can't even fall back on that, bruh, because the numbers is probably even worse than how the album sounds. His nightmare began with this announcement, but as the week went on, it got dramatically worse. So Kirko reported that Rick Ross' Set in Stone is currently projected to debut outside the top 20 on Billboard 200, which means that he's projected to sell under 26,000 units. Now, it could go from...
Isn't it kind of like crazy how at one point in time in the music industry, going gold, well, really going platinum was the goal. But if you manage to go gold, it's like, all right, the label will continue to back you, support your future projects and things like that, to where now everything is all about streaming. You know what I'm saying? It's amazing to me how it's changed in terms of how units are moved. You know, everything is all digital.
Zero, which clearly he's sold more than zero, to 25,000, because 26,000 is where 20 stays. Now, but here's the thing. It's been reported Rick Ross might not make the Billboard 200. Kirko was being generous when they said Rick Ross could sell under 26,000 units, or he was going to sell under 26,000 units. They were being generous because they left it in an open. You could sell 25,000, and that'll be decent. I mean, terrible, abysmal for Rick Ross, but that'll be decent. But Rick Ross is actually projected to miss the Billboard 200. Like, he's projected to not make the 200 at all. You see, you gotta sell about 26,000 to make the top 20. This week, you gotta sell about what, 4,500 to 5,000 to make the 200. If you sell under 4,500, they don't even like keep track. Like, they don't even count it. Like, they don't even like report it. Rick Ross is on track to sell under 4,500. The opening day for the album, which is supposed to be the biggest streaming day, we see this for like many rappers, probably every rapper. The opening day is the biggest streaming day for the album. That's the day where everybody is anticipating the album to drop. They're staying up, they're listening, and right, like there's anticipation for it. And then after the first day, depending on how good the album is, it falls off by like 40%, 30% each and every day. Rick Ross' opening day was 1.8 million streams. That's about 1,200 album sales. 1,200. Now, if let's say we're saying, yo, Rick Ross, like even though the album is like piss poor and trash, I wouldn't be surprised if the album fell off by like 70 to 80%.
You know, I look at that number right there, 1.83 million streams. I guess for a rapper of his caliber, that's pretty low. But I guess in today's time, first day, 1.83 million listeners is not too bad on Spotify. I think the biggest challenge would be to continue to grow that. But if the album isn't good, it's like, all right, those numbers tend to fall off, or they're going to fall off, if you will.
But let's just say he fell in line with what Kendrick Lamar or Drake did, right? Which is about like 30%. If this fell off about 30% each and every day, you're not making it to 4,500 by the end of the week, bruh. Yeah, again, I don't know what it was. I don't know if it's because Rick Ross just didn't do the right promotion, if he didn't drop a single, if hip hop is just beyond Rick Ross as a rapper and they just stick for the personality.
I think that might be what it is, honestly, because I think that Rick Ross, his sound is dated. You know what I mean? Like I said, he was good for making car music back in the 2010s. You know what I'm saying? And we're past that somewhat now. Not to say that there aren't rappers out here that are making good car music, ride out to, but he's just not one that's people listen to. Like, I'll give you a promise. Like right now, I'm bumping that new Larry June. Make sure y'all go listen to that Who's Coppin'. Fire album. One thing I can say about Larry, he will make car music, but then he also makes music to help get you motivated, get you going, things like that. That's what I could appreciate about a rapper like him. So he knows how to have a good blend. That's something that I think Rick Ross has to work on or try to tap into, if you will.
But this right here is really, this is like unprecedented. Somebody of Rick Ross caliber doing 1,200 album sales first week is crazy. I've never seen nothing like this before in my life, like ever.
It is pretty
like
low.
In my life. Now, obviously, you have Drake fans who are celebrating. Like one person says, Ain't no way Sexy Song for You got more streams on his 516th day. Now, in an attempt to save face, Rick Ross is now reposting this particular interview clip. Now, is unsure if it's old or new, but he reposted this where he's talking about how he don't care about album sales. He don't care about how much the album sells. He just care about the music and the quality, but that's the problem. If you dropped a really, 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 really amazing album, like let's say Killer Mike, right? When Killer Mike dropped his project, the album was a good album. The album was great. Yo, I had to go back and listen. Like, it was a pretty good album. Now, the album didn't sell a goddamn, but it won a Grammy because it was a great album. But in the case of Rick Ross, he dropped an album that was piss poor. It was trash. The quality was bad, and the album flopped. And now he's saying, I don't care about numbers. I don't care.
That's cap. Let me tell you something. You're not putting out an album and not caring about the sales, because the sales dictate to me if you still have some relevancy in the rap world, in the music world. And so you definitely care about those numbers, my nigga. You ain't in there putting together a compilation album and you not caring about the numbers. You do. It's just that they're not the numbers that you wanted them to be. If your numbers had went crazy, you wouldn't be saying that.
About album sales. I just care about the quality of the music. But you don't get to pop it the last 3 or 4 months how Rick Ross was popping it. Telling us he's dropping a classic album, these little boys not on his level, and then you do this. You don't get to repost this after what you did, bro.
Set in stone, my 12th LP. Evie just told me all my albums debuted, you know, all that top shit. You know, Rose never even, I used to never even know when my shit was first. I didn't even care about that.
Yeah.
Teflon, when they said Teflon Dawn, it came out, I want to say 187,000 copies the first week. I was like, yeah, okay, that's cool. And, you know, my passion and my reaction come from the streets.
Yeah. Yeah. And the streets love
you. Yeah. The big arenas, all that shit cool, but my mind frame was, man, when we go to these after parties.
I mean, that's all good that you have a high appreciation for what the streets may say, but the labels say otherwise. It's like, look, that might be cool and all that your people around the way and your people support, you know, we support your music, but yo, we need you to be moving units. You know what I'm saying? Because we got to keep the lights on at this record label. And of course, we got to get our cut of the pie too. So yeah, that might be cool and all, but we need you to be moving units for real. You know what I'm saying? All that street gimmicky stuff, you know, save it. You know what I'm saying? That's how these labels, in my opinion, that's how they think. You know what I'm saying?
I want to see the bitches falling over, spilling the champagne.
We need you selling out arenas.
That's when that shit fire.
They were definitely doing that in Miami. Bruh, the security was pulling people back, and it was crazy.
That's how it is with Rose in the building, but that's what I gauge the music by.
Nobody is buying that shit. Nobody is buying that, bruh. Yo, you could talk like that if, let's say, you're J. Cole. J. Cole don't bother nobody, bruh. Like, yo, J. Cole album like fell off the charts. Nobody cared. You know why? Because J. Cole don't bother nobody, bruh. Man, J. Cole sell his music, go back to his family, and leave people alone. Rick Ross did an entire press tour about how Drake album flopped, about how Drake is trash, how Drake not on his level. We should stop comparing Drake to him. Drake not on his level at all. Nah, at all. So when you do an album tour.
Listen, man, respectfully, you know, I rock with Rick Ross, you know what I'm saying? As far as like his music and things like that, what he's done for the culture. But Drake, no. Like, it's not even close, man. And I'm not over here glazing and all of that because I know people say, oh, you glazing? Nah, it's not that at all. If we just go catalog for catalog, you know, single for single, sell for sell, it's not even close. The numbers matter. The numbers dictate who's hotter, in my opinion, a lot of times. You feel me? Like, you can't sit up here and say that Drake, no, we ain't doing that. You can't do that.
Announcing how Drake flopped and Drake sold over 400,000 copies first week. Drake had 9 out of the top 10 songs on Billboard Top 10 or Top 100, 9 out of the top 10 simultaneously. And then 10 of the of the songs on the album reached top 10 because What Did I Miss apparently went number 2 before the album dropped as a single. So Drake had 10 records on his album that went top 10. And you said that album was a flop. Drake is not on your level. Nobody is checking for it. The numbers ain't do nothing. And then you drop an album and look where you're at. How can you?
Yeah, I mean, what, 26 units, 26,000 units compared to 400,000? Yeah, that's a big difference. That's like David and Goliath. It's not even close. Like I said, I mean, you know, it's one thing for you to feel that way because I get it. You got to really amp it up and get people interested in listening. Like, oh, is it really better than Drake's project? So you get people over there and then they get to it and it's like, man, this ain't hitting on nothing. Like he doing all that talking, but it's not doing anything. The music doesn't say that. The music says otherwise.
You talk like this and then talk like this once you fail.
Did you put Drake at your level?
No.
You're not putting Drake at your level.
No, see, you might be, I could see it in your eyes, you might be confused with the numbers and all of the fake numbers flood the marketplace, 50 something. That shit ain't nothing. Remember what I told you, the streets are the streets. If Drake was what he thought, what you think he was or what he thought he was, he would have been able to clear all this shit up, address it, and been moved on. He's still suing the label. That's like him. He might sue you for speaking of him on this situation.
Did you listen to Iceman, the new?
I listened.
I don't get what he's saying with that because, like, why would he sue? He's suing his label because of some nonsense with Kendrick Lamar, if I'm not mistaken. Y'all can correct me in the comments. But to say that he's not on your level, you know, isn't it ironic how just a decade ago, everybody was looking for a Drake feature. Everybody wanted to get Drake on their single. If the single was already doing numbers, there's like, yo, all I need is that Drake feature, and that'll supercharge this single, and then I'm out of here. Everybody wanted to do music with Drake. Now he's public enemy number one to everybody, including Rick Ross. And it's like, come on, man. You do better being associated with Drake and being an ally than being an enemy because it only helps you and your music.
Listen to some of it. My
What'd you think
engineer
about
it was horrendous. My homies actually sat there and they lost an hour of their life for this shit.
Listen to it.
Yeah,
Are they recovering?
yeah, trauma.
Trauma. It's tough.
It is.
It's tough.
Yeah.
Now, by the way,
when you've been waiting after you seen people put ice blocks in the middle of places and promoted and marketed, and the world knew what day it was coming out, and the shit came out and really, folded.
but have you personally listened?
I don't think that it folded because he had a lot of people waiting for him to drop the album. People going up there. It was good marketing. It was good marketing for the rollout of the album, in my opinion. And I think I was on somebody's stream listening to it. And there's some stuff on there. I haven't really listened to any of these new Drake projects, but I'm gonna probably spin it back. When we get to the fall season, that's when I'm gonna really be locked in, cozied up in here, listening to my jams or whatever. So I'm gonna go back and play that. I don't know about y'all, but I'm definitely ready for the fall.
To every single one of the tracks in the new album?
No, I couldn't do it. I mean, Pitchfork gave it, I said it was mid. Mid meant 5. Pitchfork gave it a 4 point something. I don't know. But it was like, no one's my friend. You left me alone. Oh my. It's that type of shit. You got to be a boss out here, man.
So nothing that would be in your new playlist that you were showing?
Was it anything in my recent
I
playlist?
didn't hear all of them. I don't know if you got to,
I mean,
by which one did you stop? 5?
I'm not
Did
sure.
you make it to 5 or 6?
I'm not sure. You got to realize when it was going, it's music people that's on my team I allow them to be you could be a Drake fan if you like.
How you allow people on your team? How do you allow somebody to do something? I'm a grown man. I'm a grown woman. You can't tell me what I can and can't listen to. Like how you sound. Like that's almost like sunning somebody. Like you're not gonna tell me what I'm allowed to listen to. Yeah, he bugging. See, that's that. I think I'm this mafioso persona that Rick Ross tends to give off. And it's like, dude, knock it off.
His music, I'm not gonna tell you, no, don't put. We not on that type of shit. Listen to it if you want to listen to it. And I had people that listened to it. By the 5th song they came out, they was like, damn, this shit whack. And they went back in, listened to it. I'm like, it's not nothing that's dope. You don't hear nothing like Jay-Z and Alicia Keys in New York. You don't hear none of that. This a motherfucker.
Let's be for real. Nobody's putting out a song like that. That's an anthem. Who's really putting out an anthem like that? So that was a bad comparison in my opinion, because none of these artists today are really doing anything like that. Nobody's trying to do that. Jay-Z was trying to make a statement when him and Alicia Keys made that song well over a decade ago. You know what I mean? So that was a terrible comparison to me. You know what I'm saying? And on that note, all right, if you're saying that Drake's album is whack and people are saying your album is whack, what does that mean? That means that both of you niggas need to go ahead and set aside your differences, squash all that, and get in the studio, get in the booth, and make it happen. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what y'all need to do.
We're always bringing up Michael Jackson. What a Billie Jean at? What a Thriller? And
imagine talking that hot about an album that sold 400,000 copies first week, and then apparently, according to 50 Cent, he's seen Rick Ross' album sales so far. So because Rick Ross is selling like under 4,500, there's not enough data on his album sales, but 50 Cent actually has tools. 50 Cent says, I just saw your record sales, LL 2,000, what the F? And I was right. He sold 1,200 first day. So now, 2,000 or around 2,000 sounds about right. It sounds about right. So Rick Ross is selling 2,000, but he was calling an album who sold over 400,000 a flop. Like, come on, bro.
Like, that's damn near gold. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't call something that's practically almost gold in terms of sales. In this day and time, in this era of music and how music is distributed, yeah, that's big numbers. Since people don't buy physical media anymore, nor do they produce it like that. Like, that's good. Compared to 26,000 units.
Yo, I don't like to celebrate people's downfall. I just don't. I don't, man. Contrary to popular belief, I just don't. But when you get to talk like that about other people who's not bothering you, nah, bro, you gotta reap. Listen, man, you gotta reap what you sow. All right, now 50 Cent also posted this, and the song title was Mr. Recoup, making fun of Rick Ross not being able to recoup. 50 is he's having a blast with this. Like, he is having an absolute ball with Rick Ross flopping. And he would also post this where, like, Rick Ross is talking about how nobody is listening up for Drake's music, how he's the boss, et cetera, et cetera. And then 50 Cent would post, that ish was a firecracker. Only friends and family got it. LOL. Check out my channel. Bet. And I don't think 50 wrong either, bro. Rick Ross, man. Bro, learn a lesson from this, man. Don't root for other people's downfall because your turn is like right around the corner. Okay. Let me know in the comment section, what do you guys think, okay? If you're still watching this video and you want to...
All right, it's going to be the end of the video. Shout outs to him. I mean, yeah, I truly think that Rick Ross should probably recalculate what he's out here doing. All right, you having this album and it flopping should really be a testament to where you are to the listeners of rap and hip hop. You are not that guy anymore. Nobody's looking for you for car music. You know what I'm saying? It's not there. You know what I mean? You'd be better off You'd be better off putting aside your differences with Drake and saying, hey, yo, let's do a track. You know what I mean? I'll lay down my vocals. I'll send it to you. Have your engineer, you know what I'm saying? Chop it up, do what they got to do. Let's drop a new single, squash this beef, and go crazy on Billboard. That's what you ought to be doing, because you still got to pay for that house down there in Riverdale. I don't know if I ever told y'all this, but I used to live 5 minutes from his crib. I lived off 138, right there where the Shell is, that Lake Ridge neighborhood. You come out, you make that left, you go up and then you make another left on Old Nat, and his crib is right there. You got to make sure you can maintain that. All them cars and stuff I saw out there. So yeah, it's crazy. It's real crazy. But yo, y'all let me know what y'all think. If you made it this far, I appreciate you. Make sure you check the like button, sub to the channel, and sound off in the comments until they kick your ass out. That being said, it's your boy Robbie. To the next video, we out.